New videos every day.
I'm going to talk today about lawsuits, or what they refer to in the legal world as defective drug lawsuits. For a new medication to be approved by the Food and Drug Administration, it only requires a short clinical trial. A drug may be approved because the trial lasted 6 to 8 weeks. But 6 to 8 weeks is not a long enough period of time to determine the side effects of a drug, and some of these side effects can be potentially lethal. So oftentimes, with any new generation drug, despite FDA approval, side effects or side effects due to long-term use of the medication begin showing up. Some of these side effects are mild, and some of them cause personal injury or even death. Because of these injuries, people start to sue. Even state governments begin to sue. The freaky thing is that some of these lawsuits revolve around the fact that the pharmaceutical company knew about the life-threatening effects these medications could have and withheld this information from the patients and the doctors because they didn't want people to stop taking the medication. It's a money thing. In June 2005, Eli Lilly agreed to pay over $700 million in settlement to Zyprexa users who developed serious consequences from the drug. There have been several Zyprexa lawsuits. However, in early June 2005, the drug maker agreed to settle over 8,000 lawsuits to patients who developed diabetes and other serious conditions due to Zyprexa. The total cost for the settlement for Eli Lilly was over $1.3 billion after legal costs and the settlement fees. So how do you know if people are having a problem with a drug you're taking or considering taking? It's very easy to find out if people are suing a drug. Check this out. If you type in a drug with the word lawsuit into Google, Google will show you how many web pages include the phrase. You want to be sure to use quotations so that everything you look up shows the entire phrase. Okay, let's try it. Effects or lawsuit. Wow, 27,400 web pages contain the phrase effects or lawsuit. Now this doesn't tell you how many lawsuits there are, it only tells you how many web pages contain the phrase. Let's see what some other drugs show. 21,000 web pages contain the phrase Prozac lawsuit. 22,500 web pages contain the phrase Celexa lawsuit. 37,700 web pages contain the phrase Ambien lawsuit. Oh my god, 129,000 web pages contain the phrase Paxil lawsuit. People must be having a lot of problems with that drug. Now maybe you're thinking, well, drug companies have a lot of money, so lawyers just sue them a lot. But that's really not the case. In order for a law firm to win the case, their case has to be very strong. This is a slide of the top-selling drugs for 2005. Let's look at a few of these. Plavix was the second highest selling drug in 2005, with sales reaching $5.9 billion. So if you Google Plavix lawsuit, we only get 800 pages. So you can assume people aren't having that much trouble with Plavix. So you see Plavix 800, Paxil 129,000. Lipitor was a top-selling drug in 2005 with $12.9 billion sales. Lipitor is a drug that's supposed to lower your cholesterol levels. Google Lipitor lawsuit. We find 207,000 web pages. It looks like people are really suing over this drug. I wonder what trouble people are having with it. Nexium was the third top-selling drug in 2005, reaching $5.7 billion in sales. Nexium is used to treat acid reflux. Google Nexium lawsuit. 1,650 web pages. So you see, that's not a lot of pages, so not that many people are having problems with this drug. So let's look at some common antidepressants. Wellbutrin lawsuit, 15,400 pages. Prozac lawsuit, 21,000 pages. Celexa lawsuit, 22,500 pages. Effexor lawsuit, 27,400. Paxil lawsuit, 129,000. And which antidepressant tops the list? Eli Lilly's Cymbalta with over 293,000 web pages. That's more than Lipitor and 10 times as many as Effexor. Now in case you're not convinced, let's throw in a control here. I wonder how many pages would show up for tobacco lawsuit. After all, tobacco lawsuits are legendary. 148,000 pages. That's about the same number of pages for Paxil, and half as many Cymbalta. What about sexual harassment? There must be a lot of those. I even thought about filing a few of those myself. 145,000 web pages. Wow. There are twice as many web pages for a single antidepressant than for sexual harassment. What about the antipsychotic medications? 25,700 web pages with the phrase Risperdal lawsuit. 34,500 web pages with the phrase Geodon lawsuit. 39,800 web pages with the phrase Seroquel lawsuit. 65,200 web pages with the phrase Zyprexa lawsuit. I think you get the idea. People have problems with these medications. Big Pharma is the new big tobacco, but on a grander scale. I'm going to include a link in the informational site of this video to a document that contains all the drugs that we've discussed, as well as all the web pages that contain drug name and lawsuit. Keep in mind that the World Wide Web is dynamic, so by the time you look at this, the numbers will have varied slightly. I encourage you to do this little test with any drugs that you're taking or considering taking. We'll give you an indication if people are having problems with this particular drug. If you find that there are a high number of websites that contain the drug name lawsuit, then you may want to do more research and see why people are suing. Again, because drug approval is not dependent on long-term medication studies, oftentimes unknown or undisclosed side effects will occur that you and even your physician are not aware of. Being informed of the potential risk of any medication you're taking will help you safeguard and protect your health. And again, you do not find very many lawsuits and medications that people do not have problems with. And here's the cool thing. In almost all cases, law offices that do defective drug claims do them on a contingency basis. This means that you don't have to pay for the case unless you win. When you hire an attorney to handle a pharmaceutical drug case, you will not have to put up any money up front, but your case will be handled on a contingency basis. The injury attorney will take a certain percentage of the awarded settlement, but if you lose, you'll receive nothing. The contingency rate varies from state to state and lawyer to lawyer, but averages 25 to 40%. However, you can consult with a lawyer for a lower rate. How do you find a lawyer? It's easy. Just Google in your drug name, lawyer, in the city that you live in. The first page of web results will contain law offices that you can consult for a free consultation. If your lawyer feels you have a strong case, he'll take your case. It's that easy. It's important, however, to act now. Depending on what state you live in, there may be laws that tell you how much time you have to sue. For example, you may live in a state in which if you receive an injury, you have to claim your injury within 2 years of receiving the injury. The laws vary from state to state, but legal consultation is free, so you need to talk to a lawyer to find out if they have time to sue or not. Sometimes the civil court is the only recourse that people have against big industry for damaged consumers. Lawsuits additionally serve a number of purposes. Lawsuits discourage unethical practices and marketing schemes. Lawsuits have actually forced pharmaceutical companies to place warning labels on their products. This enables doctors and consumers to make more informed choices about their potential treatments. In a nation where big business has virtually unlimited funds to lobby and influence government, lawsuits can be the impetus for reform. So suing isn't just about money. It's about helping to protect others so they don't suffer the same damage or loss that you have. Here's a list of psychiatric drugs that appear in defective drug lawsuit pages on legal websites. Adderall, Ambien, Ativan, Celexa, Concerta, Cylert, Cymbalta, Depakote, Effexor, Geodon, Neurontin, Paxil, Prozac, Risperdal, Ritalin, Seroquel, Wellbutrin, Zoloft, Zyban, and Zyprexa. You might ask, well, what psychiatric drugs aren't listed on some defective drug website or another? Good question.